Yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. We are here talking professional wrestling with you. And we are here, of course, on your radio. We are here on your podcasting device, be it iTunes, Google Play, anywhere you get your podcasts. And, of course, also on the YouTube channel.
Hey, oh, I better. All right, hey, it's Dave and Johnny live.
Live.
What's up, man? I'm Dave, he's Johnny. Hey, everybody.
Yes. What's up, everybody? We're watching Survivor Series. This is our Survivor Series watch-along.
Oh.
And Daniel Bryan's wrestling The Fiend right now. Whoa.
How about that?
Hey. Smacking it. Smack. We're smacking it. Welcome to the Smacking It with Dave. We're smacking each other. Hit me again. Woo! All right. Almighty. Welcome to Dave and Johnny Live. I'm Dave, and he's Johnny.
And we're not quarantined yet, right? Or
No, this isn't a quarantine.
Who are we talking? We're talking about the Prime Minister, right?
Yeah, well, he's quarantined. The Prime Minister of the country's quarantined because his
rough.
wife has coronavirus.
Yeek.
I mean, good God almighty, this thing is taking over. Obviously, we're going to be talking about it here on the show. We're still doing a show. A lot of people stopped doing shows. A lot of people are running out of stuff to talk about, but there's still a bunch of stuff going on in professional wrestling because the pro wrestling world doesn't stop. At least it hasn't stopped.
Doesn't die. Wrestling goes on.
Somehow,
That's right.
wrestling has continued. We saw AEW this week. You know, they did a show on Wednesday night.
They'll do a show next week, too.
But Thursday was kind of when everything went down, right? Thursday was when everything hit the fan and everything kind of, the NBA found a player that had coronavirus, so they suspended the season. Tom Hanks.
Fred was on the ball with that.
Hanks had coronavirus.
When Tom Hanks fell, that's when it all went to hell.
Man, once Tom Hanks gets coronavirus, you know shit's real.
When I used to be texting into you, the phone would fall over because you had it just leaning against the cup or whatever, and Johnny'd be like, "Someone keeps texting in." But he's come so far, like, and he's really are like. I mean, I remember from back in the day listening. He's have come just like you've really evolved. You know what I mean? You haven't just like you're like a mixed martial artist now. You started off with a bit of jiu-jitsu, and then you got added little bits to your bow, and he's really are. It's like I'll never ever claim to be a knowledgeable person when it comes to wrestling. I like it. I love watching it, but I wouldn't know. I know probably a lot more about MMA than I would wrestling, but I just love it. I love it, the innocence of it. I love just how everyone else who loves it, they have the same kind of personality. Everyone kind of has that kind of. They haven't lost a bit of their childhood. I think that's important. If you love wrestling, you're keeping that little bit in there. You don't have to become boring just as you get older. You can still like a little bit of something like that. I think that's what everyone who just comment on this show does. I think that's what you guys have. I think it's a brilliant thing. But it's only going to get bigger.
AJ.
This is only going to get bigger. I know it is. Like this has come to the studio here.
Look at all that.
That was cool.
What an intro.
Hey, that was a good intro, right?
Cheers.
Welcome, everybody.
Cheers, whoever made that.
Yeah.
Cheers.
We love it. We're live.
We don't need no diddy.
Hey, okay. It's Wrestling Uncensored, number 700, the 700th episode. It's unbelievable. Hello, everybody. Reporting live from somewhere. It's Wrestling Uncensored. We are here. Woo, 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 woo. It's spicy already. I'm going to give him 700 chops over the next however long we're on, 4 hour and whatever. Maybe 2 hours. Who knows how long it takes. However long it takes to give him 700 chops, brother. It's episode 700.
That was about 12.
Thank you for keeping count. We'll tell by the marks. We'll count it'll be like a tree as you tell how old it is. We'll be able to read your chest to see how many chops you've taken. You know when they cut open a tree? You understand.
Yeah, the rings.
We all understand the tree rings and how they work, right?
Yeah, something I learned in school.
We don't need no dee-da-doo-doo. All right, guys, we're here. We're here to talk some professional wrestling as we do every Friday night. Johnny North not with us tonight because he is wrestling himself. He's a wrestler. You guys know that. You guys know Johnny's a wrestler, right? I think we're getting adjustments here. I'm still a little cut off over there, no? No? Should I move over here and he move over there? Let's do that. Let's do that. Let me move over here a bit. Now we're more centered. I felt like we were a little off center.
Now we're back.
We weren't sitting in the right spots. We're professionals.
I wasn't sitting at 12 o'clock.
The Sopranos references that we drop here on the show are just like, just under the wave. You know?
Yeah. Not the ones you think of.
They're not as well, and they're not that obvious either. You'd have to really know what we're talking about because you just say 12 o'clock. I know what you mean. I'm not sitting at 12 o'clock when Phil brings his car in.
That's correct. With
I
Joey
understand.
Peeps.
Yep. To Angie Bompancero's car shop there.
He
Yeah.
goes, ho, ho. One of my favorite hoes from the series.
You got to send Tony B there to.
That's right.
Come on, Phil.
Hey, Joe.
All right. We should talk about professional wrestling. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here tonight. Shout out to Angelo Contagonis dropping the super chat, congratulating us on 700 episodes. Ryan Cat says he remembers 400 and 500. Here we are at 700. Should we take stock? Should we discuss the history? Should we
It's been
do any of that? I don't know. I'm not much for history. I like to look forward, you know?
It's just, sometimes remember when.
It's the lowest form of conversation.
Yeah.
That's another one. You got one all the time. You just oof.
Super chat.
You're firing on all cylinders tonight. I love it. Yeah, so 700 episodes of Wrestling Uncensored. Wrestling Uncensored began as a spin-off show to Ringside Report. And it's been going pretty strong for many years.
Many years.
Many years. It was a spin-off that I started because I felt like we weren't talking enough pro wrestling on Ringside Report, which started as a pro wrestling show, but then we drifted into an MMA and pro wrestling show. And then there was a lot more MMA on the show, and there was very little pro wrestling. And I said, well, this is a problem. We need to readdress the wrestling. So I decided to create Wrestling Uncensored. I brought on my friend Jeremy Prophet, who is a pro wrestler, and I thought, here's the model of the show. Man who loves wrestling with another man who is a wrestler. And it worked for a while with Jeremy until he had some scheduling deals, and Johnny stepped in, and Johnny became more available, although these days Johnny's getting tons of bookings, and he's barely available
like every other week.
Almost every weekend, Johnny's out wrestling. We're not seeing Johnny on the channel as much as we would like, but we're also happy that Johnny's out wrestling, fulfilling his pro wrestling dreams, which is
Plying
great.
his craft.
Yeah, he's the man. He's my favorite wrestler, so I'm happy that he's
Hell of a
wrestling.
performer.
So, yeah, we brought Johnny on, and the rest is history, brother. 700 episodes later, here we are, still here. We used to be on the radio. Now we're strictly on the internet, which is preferable to me. The format is wide open. We've got more time. We've got all the time in the world. We could say what we want. We could do what we want. And I hope you all enjoy the current format of Wrestling Uncensored. I hope you're all enjoying the show and continue to enjoy the show because we're going to continue to watch wrestling and do it for another 700 episodes.
Yeah.
Thinking about this the other day. The show started. Ringside Report Radio, Ringside Report MMA. You know, the Ringside Report network really was founded by me in 2006. So in like a couple years, we'll be hitting a 20-year anniversary of the Ringside Report network.
I remember.
Which is nuts.
I used to call in.
Right. On the radio, which sounds like an old-timey form of communication that we used to do.
On the line.
Yeah. It's like 20 years. We're almost at a 20. We're at an 18-year.
I was in high school, yeah.
We've been doing the show for over 18 years.
It's a long time.
It's shocking to me. The time has just flown by, but it's an entire lifetime that we've been doing this. And I think over that time, we've developed a certain level of expertise and knowledge and, dare I say, authority in the field. You know? You do this for long enough. You watch enough wrestling. You follow it long enough. You analyze it closely enough for a long enough time. I think you become an expert. Right? The 10,000 hour theory. I think I've hit
Gladwell.
I think I've hit my 10,000 hours.
Oh, 100%. You've watched 10,000 hours of wrestling.
I've watched over 10,000 hours of wrestling. I've done over 10,000 hours of wrestling talk, I think, at this point.
It's true. Think about the watch-alongs, the post-shows.
Yeah.
Some of those episodes were pretty long.
Not just Wrestling Uncensored, which, you know, was an hour or two every week. But those are 700 episodes. So think of that. That's like, say, conservatively 700 hours, but we all know it's more. Right? We all know it's more. Mm-hmm. Say it's 1,000 hours conservatively. You add to all the ringside reports that, you know, have happened over the years. It's 10,000 hours of showtime for sure. 10,000 hours of doing this stuff over that, I would say.
A lot of talking.
I think we've developed a mastery of it. I think we've done well. I think AJ's doing great when he has an internet connection, you know? Johnny North is obviously incredible. Couldn't do any of this without Johnny. He is just such a great co-host, friend, confidant. I mean, sincerely, he's the best. I love Johnny. And he loves me. He does. You can't always tell, but I know he does, you know? Because when we're not doing the show, when it's just me and John.
He gets lovely gifts.
Yes, he is such a generous guy. He's so generous to me and my family, my kids. Like, he is the best. John is great. I love Johnny. So
me too.
That's it. You too. You know what I mean? Like, it's so nice to have Johnny, and you know, for us to have each other. We've known each other for so long now.
You've known Johnny for a long time before he did the show.
Yeah, I knew Johnny for years before we ever did the show together. You know, he's like a lifelong friend. So it's really nice to be able to do this and to have done this with my buddy Johnny, you know? And it's nice that Johnny still wants to do the show with me because I'm a handful, you know? I'm not always easy to deal with. And Johnny deals with me, and he's great. So I really appreciate him dealing with me all these years because I know it's not always been easy dealing with me. But Johnny is great. And, I can't say enough great things about Johnny. I hope he watches this. I know he will. Johnny watches all the shows that we do. Johnny is like a keen observer of what we do. He analyzes everything. And sometimes he critiques me. Sometimes I don't like the criticism, but I take it.
Makes you watch the tape.
I mean, one of the main reasons why AJ is on the show full time is because of Johnny. Because AJ replaced Fred when Fred got sick. Fred was sick. He had his appendicitis.
Right.
So he was in the hospital, so I had no Fred. So I brought in AJ because AJ was like a friend of the show. We'd have him once in a while come in. So AJ replaced Fred for like a few weeks. And then the show, when Fred came back, we kept AJ as like a crossover thing. AJ's last week, AJ and Fred together. And Johnny and other people, Johnny and Wally in Ireland, but a couple other people. But Johnny primarily was like, it's good when AJ's on. Like, the three of you is good. And I was like, that seems like a lot. It's like a lot of voices. I was apprehensive. I was like, 3-man show? That seems crazy. 3 guys. Who wants to? 2 guys is, you know, 1 guy seems like a show. 2 guys is a lot. 3 guys? How are we going to do 3 guys on a show? You know? What am I, Puff Daddy? You know what I mean?
Oh.
But yeah, no, so I said, okay. I was against it. I was like, I don't know. This guy AJ, I'm not so sure. But they said that it was fun and entertaining, and I didn't disagree. So AJ's part of the show now, the Ringside Report MMA show. So, you know, Johnny's very influential. Like, Johnny, behind the scenes, he's he plays a role not just in the wrestling show, but in the MMA show in a way, you know, as like a counsel and stuff.
Sounding board.
Yeah, Johnny is Johnny's the man. So we love Johnny North. Thank you, Johnny, for doing all these shows with me. And when he's back, I won't say any of these nice things about him to his face. Come on. I can't do that. Because you know what he's going to say to me. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. He's not going to give me anything back. He never gives me anything back. All right.
Thank you.
Angelo Contagonis says, I've always enjoyed your content. You didn't let getting let go from radio get to you. You've continued to produce great content. Yeah. Well, the show didn't really get let go from radio. It was kind of a complicated issue. We decided not to continue with them because they were asking for things all of a sudden, like money that we weren't willing to give them. They're like, give us your half of your profits. And we're like, why? All of a sudden, would you want half of our profits? That seems like something we would not want to do. You know? It was odd. It was an odd move on their part, kind of to spontaneously say, we don't want to pay you anymore for the content. We would like you to give us money in the sum of half of everything that you bring in. And we're like, well,
why?
That seems like a very bad financial move for us. So we're going to not do that, and we're going to forego being on the radio. I think we're good, you know? It was strange. So that was a strange move. Yeah, but I don't work in radio anymore, and I cannot tell you how good that has worked out for me. It's quite nice. I don't want to talk about all the details of why it's good and why everything is better now, but things are much better now for me in every way. Being on the radio, being in the radio business was like not fun. Being on the radio and like doing like a radio show is fun, but working in radio was not that fun. Not that fun, not really well paid, and just the environment,
unsavory
characters, and the environment was just uncomfortable. You know, it just wasn't it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. Some people like it, I think, maybe, although I don't know who does, because the people I know that are still doing it, a lot of them didn't seem. I mean, I think there's parts of it, like there's parts of it that you liked, right? But there's so many other parts
you
of
get some
it.
access.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is fun and cool, but there's so many parts of it that's just like I can't believe we have to deal with this, and this guy's asking me for this, and it's just a lot of uncomfortable situations. So that was nice. Getting out of all of that is nice, and also just the lack of stability of that business, and the volatility and the you don't know. The money sucked. There was no benefits. There was no, you know what I mean? There was no security whatsoever in that business. And all those people, they live on like tomorrow I might get the phone call.
Yeah.
And then
that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they want to make you feel like you're happy to be there. So it's like,
Yeah.
You're lucky to be there.
Yeah, but at a certain point, like, well, that's it. It's like, well, how much am I getting paid for this? I'm only getting this? That's weird, because you guys seem to be making way more on all of this.
Yeah.
And they go, like well, you should be happy to be doing this. It's the opportunity. They always try to sell you on, well, it's an opportunity. Yeah. It's not. But the point is, at a certain point, you have so many opportunities that, you go, okay, well, where's the money after all of this? And the catch is there isn't any.
They already took it.
There isn't any. No, it's just there isn't any. At this point, there isn't any in radio.
Like advertising, there's
no money.
Yeah.
If you're an advertiser, like even when I started, right, in like 2004, you're not going to spend money on, like if you have a restaurant or a bar, you're going to spend money on what? Radio or TV or newspapers back in 2004 even.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a business, local business, whatever, you're spending on Instagram, you're spending on Facebook, you're spending on Twitter, you're spending on online advertising
TikTok.
Before you go to the radio stations. So the radio stations and print media, like TV is still getting, but even TV is hard times, you know? So the advertising dollar's there, and that's the whole business. The whole business is on how much they can get from their local advertisers, and if there's no money there because they're spending it on online or, you know, which is more focused, it's more targeted, it's, some would say, better money, like money better spent.
You know where it's going, who it's appealing to.
So, you know, it's just there isn't any. There's a certain generation of guys, pretty much guys, old white guys, that are making good, decent money because they're kind of grandfathered in, but like the next level up, they don't get it. They don't get it. And like when the guys that are grandfathered in retire, they just go, yeah, we're gonna replace them with
some guy from Toronto.
Whatever, or some local guy, like the local guy that is thinking, here's my shot. It's like, yes, you're gonna get the opportunity. And then you go, what about the paycheck? Same paycheck as you've been getting. And you go, wait a sec, what? Because the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow doesn't exist because they want these old guys to retire because they can't afford them anymore.
No.
The guys that have been grandfathered in with the big contracts, and there are a couple of them left, you know, I don't want to name their names, but there are a few of them left. Those guys, like, eventually they want to push them out, and they say, oh, I'm retiring, but they're not retiring. They're getting forced out because their contracts is like, all right, dude. They just eventually their name gets drawn out of the hat, and it's like, oh, we got to get rid of this guy because, you know. And then the next ones up aren't getting the cash. It's sad. Like the next generations, like my generation, like the money that the older generations got, it's not there, and it's not like, well, because they're stealing it or what. It's just it's not. It doesn't exist. The money is not in radio.
The revenue's not
there because the revenue's just not there. Because of how advertising works.
It's better going to podcasting.
Yeah.
You know, Patreon.
No shit. That's why we've been doing a podcast since like the early 2000s because we saw the future coming. No shit. Mm-hmm. That's why we built a fucking TV studio in our fucking office because we saw the future coming. Some people want to believe that their current station is going to stay forever and they're going to be cool. But there's a reality looming. It's like, guy, please start recording that podcast, brother. Don't say you have a podcast and then record like 3 times a year. That's not a podcast. That's a side project.
You got to put in the work.
You can't, you know what I mean? Like, do the work. Do the work. Like Cody Rhodes says, do the work. It's the only way to do it. 700 episodes. Do the work. What can I say? How do you build a network? How do you build a channel? Do the work. Put in the work. Watch the shit. Do the things. Become an expert. Know what the fuck you're talking about.
Get on the mic.
You got to put in the time. You got to put in the reps. If you don't put in the reps, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You got to practice. Everything you do, everything you're trying to master, you have to practice. Martial arts, podcasting, anything. It's reps. And AJ is just a prodigy. He's mastered it just immediately. And Fred, of course. I mean, Fred took a little time, but Fred is fantastic as well. I don't want to,
I'm a Nepo hire.
Oh, you're only here because of your last name, brother.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you know, that's a classic radio business.
Yeah, that is how it does work a lot. Yeah. Who are you gonna hire for this job? How about my brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
My nephew.
What are his qualifications? He knows stuff.
I like him.
I like talking to him. We have good chemistry. Also, you know a ton about wrestling, which helps too
I know
on this
some
program.
things.
And what?
I know some things.
You know some things about. I mean, yeah, you know some things. I don't know many people who know as much as you do about wrestling.
All right,
Put it that
thank
way.
you.
Like, I know a lot of wrestling fans, but
Yeah.
outside of Johnny and like a couple other people, you know,
Yeah.
you're pretty much one of the most knowledgeable wrestling guys I know. You know, a lot of wrestling fans haven't been watching it as long as you have.
It's true. When I think like, you know, like
They haven't been paying attention
it's
either as
WrestleMania
closely.
14 and a
You've
little
been
bit
paying
before.
attention since
It's
then.
a long time ago now.
You were at the screw job when you were what, 7 years old?
That's correct.
How many 7-year-olds were at the Montreal screw job? You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of born and
Yeah,
bred.
probably some of them weren't allowed.
You were bred into the business, brother.
I went to the WCW house show before that.
Yeah, your first wrestling show was a WCW house show. Your first wrestling show, you saw Lex Luger, the Giant,
Hulk Hogan,
Ric
Flair was
and
there.
Ric Flair.
Chris Jericho,
Your first show.
Harlem Heat.
My first show, I saw Macho Man at the Forum, brother. Ooh, yeah, dig it.
There's probably some other like cool guys.
Yeah, I think Brett was there,
Jake the Snake,
possibly. I mean, I was like
Mr. Perfect,
5.
probably Mr. Perfect.
I was like 5 years old. I don't have a great
Yeah.
memory of it.
The Macho Man was filling in because Warrior didn't show up.
That's what I remember, yeah.
Sounds like Warrior.
Warrior was supposed to be there, but then they announced Macho Man was there instead because
Yeah.
Warrior was not in the
That's
building.
better.
Shout out Angelo Contagonis. Shout out Jason Pete, members of the channel over at joined.ringsidereport.net. Kyle Salisbury dropping a super chat. He says, congrats on another 00. Looking forward to 1,000. 1,000.
My goodness.
I think we'll get there. Why not?
Oh yeah.
Why not? No problem. Yankees down 1-0 in the fifth inning. A's up 1-0 over the Yanks. What's happening, man? Come on, Yankees. We're watching the Yankees too as we do this program, so forgive us if things, drift into baseball land because my brother is also a huge Yankee fan, as I am, and it's getting close to the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And
October's around the corner.
I'd like to win the pennant, so let's win as many games as we can here, especially against the A's, who just aren't very good. Let's win the pennant. Let's make sure we win the
They've had a great
pennant.
record since the All-Star break. They have been one of the
Mm.
best teams of baseball.
Yeah, but come on.
Yeah.
Come on, guy. Let's win the pennant. You know what I mean? Like, we have such a lead if we lose it.
Yeah.
If we lose it going into the playoffs, it'll really suck.
No, they got to get the division.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, the pennant means they're going to the World Series.
No, a pennant used to be just a division.
But yeah, but you also got put into like the championship series like right away. And
Is that what the... Oh, well, back in my day,
Yeah.
winning the pennant means you freaking win the division.
now it's
What
now
I'm
it's just
saying
you win the
is
American
they got to
League.
win the AL East, all right, is what I'm
Yes.
saying. I want the bye in the first round of the playoffs. I want them to win the AL East because if they start to stumble here and they lose the AL East and they stumble
And
into
then
the
the
playoffs,
Royals get hot.
they get bounced.
Yeah.
They're going to get bounced in the first round. So let's go. Let's win some games. Let's not lose. We lost to Seattle yesterday.
Let's go G.
Let's beat the A's here and let's get it together. Angelo and Jason Pete reminiscing about the old days listening to the radio. Back in the days. Crazy. Crazy times.
Yeah.
It's like a different lifetime for me. I remember, so many years of Wrestling Uncensored, Ringside Report. Crazy. Crazy. And we've got many more fun times to come. We do have a special show planned for Bad Blood UFC 307. Like, that's going to be a huge night on October 5th. First of all, it's going to be a Super Dave Super Birthday celebration because my birthday is like 2 days before October 5th, right? It's Bad Blood for the WWE, and it's UFC 307. So we're going to be doing a Bad Blood post-show and a UFC 307 watch-along at the same damn time.
My goodness.
I think because it'll be a mashup show that we may actually have a mashup lineup in studio.
Oh, Jesus.
And the mashup lineup may be something that you have never seen before for a watch-along on the Ringside Report Network.
Like, have Johnny and Fred ever been on the same stream?
Fred will not be... I think Fred... I don't know if they've ever been on the same stream, but they will definitely... I mean, the plan is for Fred to be at his home studio live via satellite. For AJ to be here. For me to be here. And for Johnny to be here as well.
Oh. The three.
So we would have the three amigos here.
And
Fred. But the three boys in studio. A packed studio with Big Johnny, Big AJ, and Big Dave. The three bigs.
Big three.
Apparently we did all WrestleMania online in 2020, but that was like COVID times. We weren't all together, right?
Yeah.
All together in studio. AJ, me, Johnny. I don't think that's ever been done before on the Ringside Report Network. It would be a first. And it would be to celebrate and commemorate this occasion, which is Wrestling Uncensored episode 700. So that is the going plan. That is what I would call... what do you have of a plan? What did Trump have?
Concept.
I have
a concept of a
That's
plan.
my concept of a plan.
Yeah.
My
Great
concept
great
of a
concept.
plan is to have all three of us in studio for the Bad Blood UFC 307 watch-along post-show extravaganza. We'd come on at 10 p.m., wrap up Bad Blood, watch UFC 307, and have an all-out party. Only on the Ringside Report Network.
Big night.
You know? Angelo says that's going to be one heck of a show. Thank you, Angelo. I'm glad you're excited for that. We're doing it for you. It's a special for you guys. So hopefully we can get that done. And Johnny doesn't get another spontaneous wrestling booking where he's gone wrestling, beating
Yeah.
up somebody in a ring somewhere.
Out
That
in
could happen.
Ontario.
John is always busy. Kyle Salisbury said Fred is a mashup all the time, all on his own. I agree. Shout out Leor. Leor in the house. Fred is a mashup all the time, all on his own. You say mashup or mushup?
I don't know.
What?
A mashup? A mashup is like...
No, I know what a mashup is. I'm just making a joke about
Oh.
mushup.
Mush.
Fred. Mushrooms.
I see.
More choppers. Let me give you the Eddie Kingston chops.
Oh,
Eddie Kingston chops. I'm going to tickle you with baby chops like Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston.
Freaking Eddie Kingston, brother.
Michael Rappaport.
Yeah, the Michael Rappaport of wrestling. Rappaport's like really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Pro.
Yeah,
Right?
but like in an annoying way.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what is he doing? I didn't know that was his new gimmick.
Yeah.
I just gotta... Your thing's gotta be
Oh.
closer to your face.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that's right in my face. I don't think that's what it's supposed to do.
No? I'm not supposed to bang it right in your face like that?
Not quite. No. I think-
Oh, my goodness. All right. SmackDown absolutely sucked tonight.
There's a reason why we're talking about anything else as well. Because, jeez, brother. It was a pretty bad SmackDown.
Wrestling was not good this week at all. Like, I watched all the wrestling this week, as I do every freaking week, and it was not good this week. Nothing was really good. Nothing. Apparently, you're starting to look like Wheeler, Utah. You do kind of look like Wheeler,
I see
Utah.
it. I see it. I don't know if that's a compliment or
The
not.
chat is saying you look like Wheeler, Utah. That's good. You do. Hold on. Now we got to pull up a picture of Wheeler,
picture.
Utah. Oh, that's good. You do. Especially now, the way Wheeler looks now, he's got a beard and the hair exactly like yours. Oh.
Wheeler.
And you
Utah?
know, Wheeler looks like kind of partly Asian like we are. You know what I mean? Like he's got a bit of Asian blood in him like we do. You know? He might be like 1/8 Asian. Maybe he might be a quarter. Maybe he's half. I don't know. I don't think he's fully Asian, though. He kind of does look like you. That is hilarious.
Or I look like him.
Our great-grandmother was Vietnamese, guys.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear. We are, like, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit Asian in there.
A little bit.
Little bit. Let me get a picture of Wheeler, Utah. Yo, that is hilarious. Oh.
Yeah.
Hold on, no. But you got to see him like. You didn't look at him on Dynamite this week or something.
Or I remember from All Out.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy kind of looks like you. But like on.
Oh, Yankees tied the game. Little Tony.
Yeah, let's go, Little Tony.
Little Tony.
Let's go,
drives in
Yankees.
Big Tony.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go, Little Tony.
I'm telling you, you look a bit like Wheeler, Utah.
I see it. I can't wrestle like he does.
No.
He's pretty good.
He is pretty good.
He's just not that interesting.
No. But he's getting more interesting because he's still trios champion with Claudio and Pac. But he's mad at what they did to Bryan Danielson. So he's like not with them, but they have to defend their belts on Dynamite this week, which is Grand Slam. Grand Slam is next week's Dynamite. Like the build up this week on Dynamite, you know, it was mostly a kind of a build show this week. They didn't do a ton on Dynamite this week because I think they're gearing up for a big show next week where they got Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin. They got Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness, probably, if Danielson's medically cleared. Like, they haven't officially said yet. Maybe they're going to say on a Collision or something. I don't know. But I think that match is going to happen. Like, why do they keep talking about it?
Time.
And Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher are going to wrestle the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championship.
Kyle Fletcher. They got a lot of Kyles in that show. They got Kyle O'Reilly and Kyle Fletcher. I think it may be the first time in like big TV wrestling history that there's two guys named Kyle on a roster. It's very possible, yeah.
Yeah. Young Bucks versus Fletcher and Ospreay for the tag team titles. Mariah May defending her women's title against Yuka Sakazaki. Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club. So Pac, Claudio, and Wheeler against some trio. It's like an unknown trio, but they're defending their belts. Is mostly to kind of put Wheeler in a weird position and advance that story. Jamie Hayter versus Saraya in a Saraya's Rules match. I don't know what that means, but that match is happening on Dynamite. Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness, and Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin. That's all supposed to be on Dynamite on Wednesday, live from Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York City for AEW's Grand Slam. It's pretty good. And, you know, they did a lot of build for that this week. We had, what do we have on Dynamite? We had Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy beating Chris Jericho. You know, was what it was. There's Verdugo grounding out to end the inning.
Again, god damn it. It's the second time. He did double play last time he was up.
Yeah, Verdugo is a black hole.
Jesus.
In the lineup. Just a mess. We had Queen Amanata and Yuka Sakazaki beating Mariah May and Serena Deeb in a tag team match by disqualification. Like Dynamite was. We had Rick O'Shea defeating the Beast Mortos, which, you know, was all right, but
the Beast.
Who do you think was going to win that one? What else? And then the main event was pretty decent. It was Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay, and Konosuke Takeshita over the Young Bucks and Kazuchika Okada in a trios match, which was a pretty good match. And that was what they did on Dynamite this week. But Dynamite next week looking pretty good.
AEW's got some compelling stuff.
Yeah.
It's more than I can say about what WWE's doing these days.
Jeez, it's a lot of boring.
It's pretty boring. Like, I'm looking forward to Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson. That's cool. They did a video package to do the history of those guys on Dynamite. It was very good. They showed all sorts of great Ring of Honor footage about them, which is great because they own all that stuff, you know? Yeah. It's great that they own that because they could really do a good video package detailing their history, and they laid it out. It was a great video package. So I guess they're acting like the match is happening. The match must be happening. I don't know. I didn't notice an official announcement that Bryan's like healthy, but I guess, right?
I hope so.
The Moxley Darby match, I think, is, very interesting. It's got big title implications. The winner gets a shot at Bryan's belt. I don't think Bryan Nigel is for the belt. It's just a match.
Yeah.
But Darby,
friendly.
Darby's got a title shot. Darby's got a title shot, and he's defending against Moxley. I wonder what's going to go down there. I think it'd be pretty good for Darby to get a win over Moxley in this big spot, right? It'd be a kind of a career-defining moment at this stage for him. I feel like Darby needs a win more than Moxley does, but Moxley's starting this new group,
Yeah, and it feels like if Darby's going to get a shot at Bryan, he might be the one to beat Bryan. There's like...
Yeah,
it
so
feels
maybe
like
not now.
Yeah, delay it a bit.
It wouldn't make sense for Moxley to get a title shot at Bryan because he started this whole run, this whole turn with the bag over Bryan's head. So, yeah, I could see Moxley winning. It does make sense. I'd like to see Darby win, but I think you're making some good points. And the other match there, Bryan and Nigel, I feel like, again, it would do so much more for Nigel to win than it would for Bryan. I mean, the title's not on the line. Bryan's coming in, coming off an attempted murder at the pay-per-view. He took a vicious beating. It was a tough match. They put a bag over his head afterwards. He's banged up. Everybody knows it. The title's not on the line. Why not lose to Nigel? He's one of your best friends. He's a great rival. You've been around him forever. He's making this miraculous comeback to wrestling. Why not put him over? Because if Nigel just loses to Danielson now, well, that's the end of the run. Like, what's the point?
It was just like a one-off sort of, like
just to do the match with Bryan.
Comes out of retirement.
Maybe that was it. Maybe he is just going to be on commentary, and maybe he did just come out of retirement to set up this one match with Bryan because he knows Bryan's retiring and he wants to have one last match with Bryan.
In good enough shape.
That may be the case. If that's the case, then Bryan should for sure beat him.
Yeah. That's what it feels like to me.
Okay.
Just like a sort of like a nostalgia, like, hey, one more time, like.
I think it really depends
like
what
band
you're doing.
Playing together one more time.
Right. I think it depends what you're doing, though. If it is a one-off, then yeah, Bryan needs to win. But if it is like a little run for Nigel, then it would benefit him to beat Bryan somehow and then have Bryan get the win back in a title defense over him.
Yeah. But it does feel like, I know Bryan said like the next time when he loses the belt, he's retiring, or is it just losing a match?
I think loses the belt.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, I
know it feels like
I think the safe
Bryan shouldn't lose until he retires almost.
I think the safe bet is for Bryan to win. But you almost feel bad for Nigel getting this high-profile match if it is a comeback, losing the first big high-profile match. But you may be right. It may be a one-off. You're really swaying all my predictions here. I'm like thinking one thing, and then you're making points. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, actually.
Have you considered this?
Yeah, I have not considered these options. Thank you. Thank you for the options.
Happy to help.
Have you heard Yuka Sakazaki's entrance song? I can't play it because I'd get YouTube strike, but it's really good.
Yeah? It's like J-pop?
Yeah.
Japanese pop, like hyper,
high
energy.
She comes out like, and like she's saying some stuff. I don't want to do a full impression of it.
Yeah.
But she sounds like a Pokemon character when she cuts promos too.
Okay.
Like when she speaks, she sounds like, you know how like the
Like
Pokemon characters talk, like it's very high pitched, like she's doing a character.
Like maybe she did voices
Yeah, it
for
sounds.
anime.
Yeah, she's
Sometimes.
got a voice on her, and it's really, she's quite a character, that Yuka Sakazaki.
I remember her from like early AEW and
Yeah, now
Her-
she's back.
her and Emi Sakura. And,
There you go. Yeah,
And Shido's kind of like
Cheeto,
Shida.
Sheeta, Hikaru.
Old Hikaru.
Oh, Hikaru sticks.
So yeah.
Yep, Yuka Sakazaki wrestling Mariah May. Yuka will not win that match.
No.
I don't think Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay will beat the Young Bucks for the tag titles either.
No, that's not happening.
I don't think so, brother.
Maybe Will Ospreay and Darren Fletcher. I think they had a shot. They would have a shot at Young Bucks.
Of course. But
Yeah. He hits for power, Darren.
Darren is not getting the shot. AEW's 5-year anniversary coming up the week after Grand Slam on October the 2nd. And there are rumors they're going to announce a new TV deal.
Yeah.
And there are rumors that the TV deal is going to be with whatever you call it, Warner Brothers Discovery,
Mhm.
right?
That's the parent company. David Zaslav.
And it will possibly include pay-per-view,
Okay.
which would be distributed through
Paramount.
Max.
Oh, Max, right. Not Paramount Plus.
No,
Max.
Max. They're streaming, which is, it was HBO Max, but
Right.
now it's just called
Just
Max.
called Max. Yeah.
So
Great decision making there.
they will likely stay on TBS and TNT. Their programming may change a little bit. There's talk that Rampage may go away, but it looks like they are going to get a renewal of their deal for, I think, 3 or 4 years. I think it's 3 years with an option for a fourth. PW Torch reporting it's, let me read to you what PW Torch says. They've got news. They know about wrestling things. They are saying that the deal could be 3 years with a fourth-year option at about $170 million for AEW in that deal. That is a rumored deal for AEW, but we'll see. And apparently they're going to announce, I guess, details and an official deal in October on the 2nd when they do their 5-year anniversary show, which is interesting news for AEW. It's good news, right? It's good news. I think they're a great wrestling company, and I'm glad that they're continuing to thrive. We're talking about their roster earlier, comparing it to the WWE's roster.
How much more depth?
Like AEW's got Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay and MJF and Swerve and Hangman and Darby and Moxley and Pac and the Young Bucks and Okada and all these guys.
Yeah, Okada's just a guy now.
And WWE, when you look at their depth of roster, you go, okay, well, there's Cody, there's Roman, there's Randy Orton, there's Kevin Owens, there's Gunther, there's CM Punk, there's Drew McIntyre to a certain degree, but like star power, needle movers, guys that you want to see wrestle, guys that you want to see in the ring. Like, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are teaming up for the big match at Bad Blood, right? But they're facing Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
Now, Jacob Fatu is maybe their most exciting recent signing, but he's not over.
No.
He's cool to watch in the ring, and there's definite potential with Jacob Fatu, but I don't know how many people are paying to see Jacob Fatu.
No, there's just it's the collective, if anything. I don't
Like, that whole group just came in as kind of underlings to Solo, who was an underling to Roman. So now they're just kind of a group of goon jabronis. Jacob Fatu is just part of it. Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, I mean, they become tag team champions, but none of that is getting over in any kind of way. And I don't think there's a lot of excitement for Roman and Cody versus those guys. I think in large part because it's against Solo and Fatu, and people go, whatever. The main event tonight was a perfect example of that. We had Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa against Kevin Owens and the Street Profits. It was supposed to be Kevin Owens and the DIY, but the DIY got jumped by the Bloodline goons before the match, so Street Profits came as the new backup for Kevin Owens, and we had a different six-man tag match player.
Oof.
And it was not great. It took forever, and the crowd didn't seem into it, and it's just didn't even have a finish. It was a no contest. They're just brawling outside the ring.
Forever all that stuff at the end.
And just people don't really care about those guys, and it felt like a dud of a main event until, the Bloodline's beating up Kevin, and then out comes Cody Rhodes, and he makes the save, and then things are happening, and there's drama, and all of a sudden it means something again. Because Cody and Roman had this face-to-face, which was awful.
Yeah.
Like, this thing was horrible.
Drag the show to a halt.
Again, WWE is not a wrestling company because they're doing stuff like this. They're trying to do movies. And they're just making bad movies with bad acting, bad scenes, poorly written, whack. It's just awful. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns go to the Georgia Tech football stadium in Atlanta because Bad Blood's in Atlanta and Roman Reigns played football there and Cody's from Atlanta, so they're in Atlanta. And Roman's like, I played football here, so this is my field and my stadium. That means it's my city. What have you done for my city, Cody? And Cody's like, well, over there's the Omni, baby, and my daddy Dusty Rhodes. He came all over Atlanta, baby, and he made everybody squeal like a pig. So don't you say anything about me and my daddy.
Essentially, yeah.
Let me tell you something about Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, my brother Goldust, baby.
My brother Goldust, he wrestled all over Atlanta just like I did, baby. I was in the territory system with my daddy.
Cody.
No, you weren't, Cody. Yes, I was.
Bill Watts opened the door.
And Bill Watts opened the door. And, brother, he came out a shining light. I worked for Jim Crockett in 1986, baby. Jim Crockett Promotions. That's what Cody told Roman. He didn't say any of that. I'm making it up. I've gone down a rabbit
There's
hole.
only two Batman in this world, baby. One of them's John Wayne. He's dead, brother. I'm Cody Rhodes.
I'm Cody Rhodes, baby. Oh, Cody. So he was like, oh, I love Atlanta. My family, Atlanta. We wrestled here and we bled here. And this is my home. And I grew up here in Atlanta. And Roman's like, well, you shouldn't have got involved in this match because the Bloodline guys, they've got nothing to lose. And I've got nothing to lose now. I have no family and no championship. And I don't even have my Ula Fala. So I'm just a man on his own right now. And Cody's like, yeah, I said this was going to happen. I'm kind of happy this is happening to you. I said you were going to be without... you were going to be a chief without a tribe, and here you are, chief without a tribe by yourself. I'm not crying for you. And then they kind of stared at each other, and there was really bad dramatic music playing, and they had camera shots from every angle, and it was overly produced, and they had entrances where Roman came in with a bunch of black SUVs, and Cody came in all cool, driving his own self in a car, baby. A white car, too. Roman coming in the black SUVs, because symbolism, baby.
The white hat and the black hat.
It was just like, hey, let's get some people that can't write for shit. Let's get some directors that just want to go over the top and suck and are real amateur. Yeah. And let's give them a budget and let's have them produce this wrestling promo. And it sucked. It was just awkward, and you wanted it to end. And I bet they spent a ton of money on it.
Yeah.
And it was trash. It did nothing. Kevin Owens is then shown watching it, and he's just like, Baron Saxton's like, what do you think about that, Kevin? He's just like, he just walked away.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt, too, after watching that. I wanted to walk away from SmackDown. It was awful stuff. A terrible, terrible promo. I don't know what gave them the idea to do this movie-style Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns face-off at a 50-yard line in a football stadium, but it did not work. This is not pro wrestling. Stop trying to do stuff that isn't pro wrestling. It's not working. I know you think it's super creative and it's cutting edge and it's groundbreaking, but what it actually is just bad movie.
Yeah.
It's bad movie acting.
It's like a direct-to-DVD Steven Seagal movie, you know?
It's trash. And like we don't
I need you
that.
on this mission. I don't do missions anymore.
Let wrestlers be wrestlers. WWE,
American.
they think they're Hollywood. They're run by Hollywood. They're going to the puffy parties. You know, it's just, it's taking a turn. It's taking a turn for the worse. And they're going in these weird directions, and I feel like part of it is trying to appease their bosses, like, look at all this stuff we did, innovative, and, you know, like, they have to show
Hey,
their...
Rock, looks like one of your movies, huh?
That's it. Like, they have to show, and it's like, hey, look, here's kind of an audition for Roman Reigns as an actor. Here's an audition for Cody as an actor. Like, they were doing their best acting, and it came off lame as hell. It was very bad. The WWE is not a wrestling company. They keep showing you every single week they are not a wrestling company. They are an entertainment company that has some semblance of pro wrestling. But AEW is a wrestling company. And I grew up enjoying pro wrestling, not whatever WWE is. I don't recognize it as pro wrestling. I don't really recognize it as anything. When they do stuff like this with the Cody and Roman, I go, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
man?
like...
What are we doing here?
You know, sometimes they make use of those production values. You know, I've seen sometimes, but like...
Good video packages, but like...
You know.
To ship them off into a football stadium so they could stand at a 50-yard line awkwardly and talk to each other. Like, pitch that. Pitch it to me. We're going to have Roman and Cody in an empty football stadium at the 50-yard line, and they're going to have a conversation. And we're going to shoot it. Why? Why have they decided to meet there?
It's not really conspicuous.
They felt it would be an appropriate place. Who booked a football stadium?
Yeah. Why are the lights on?
Why are the lights on? Who arranged this? Who set this up?
It's undignified.
I mean, whose idea was this? Like, did Cody call Roman's? Like in the real world, Cody texts Roman, let's meet. All right. What do you want to meet? How about the 50-yard line at the Georgia Tech football stadium? It's empty, and they let me use it when I need to meet people.
Are you in Atlanta? No, I'm in Florida, but I'll make the drive.
Yeah. Do you want to meet at SmackDown in Sacramento? No, I'm not going to be there. Wink, wink. Except Cody was in SmackDown in Sacramento. Why didn't they just do this in Sacramento?
They really should have.
Because they had to talk about Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because Roman played football there.
Football.
Cody grew up there. Daddy. It was stupid as hell.
Yeah.
Dragged the show down. And the rest of the show absolutely sucked, too. Kevin Owens went to the ring to cut a promo about Cody and Roman, but then Tommy Tonga and Loa Tonga and Jacob Tonga, they all came out and started advancing on Kevin. Then the DIY showed up, and they backed up Kevin, and then Brutus Magnus is like, let's have a tag team match, player!
Seriously.
In the main event of SmackDown, player! And then they tried to do it, but it was a no contest. And then Cody made the save for Kevin when he was getting beat down by the heels after the match. And then Kevin had a chair while Cody's back was turned and looked like Kevin was setting up to hit Cody, but then Cody turned around and looked at Kevin Kevin put the chair down, shook Cody's hand, hugged him. Still looked a little conflicted, Kevin Owens. Seems like he's a little bit mad that Cody is aligning himself with Roman Reigns, given what Roman Reigns has put Kevin Owens and many others through over the past several years. Cody seemingly down to help Roman, and Kevin is not too happy about it. You could tell he's mad at Cody. He's going to explode at some point, but it was not tonight because absolutely nothing happened tonight on SmackDown. Thought they'd give us that? No, they gave us nothing. Naomi and Bayley wrestled Tiffany and Nia Jax, and the stipulation was if Naomi and Bayley won, whoever got the pin would get the title shot at Nia Jax at Bad Blood. But if Tiffany and Naomi and Nia won, then whoever got pinned, either Naomi or Bayley, they would get sent off SmackDown forever. What happened was Naomi and Bayley both pinned Nia Jax, so nobody got a title shot, and Naomi and Bayley will wrestle each other one-on-one next week to see who gets the title shot. So again, a match where nothing actually happened.
Yeah.
Nothing happened on this show.
Nothing at all. They're like, hey, maybe something's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Don't worry about it.
Giovanni Vinci had another match with Apollo Crews. It was a little longer
He got his
this
pants
time.
off.
Got his pants off, a little bit longer, more than 10 seconds, but still lost in about 2 minutes. And then attacked Apollo Crews after the match, which is
now
nothing.
He's a tough guy.
Which is nothing because what is that? Giovanni Vinci and Apollo Crews are now against each other. They hate each other. Who cares?
Yeah.
LA Knight beat Andrade to defend the U.S. title in the opening match. The match was all right. You know, a couple nice bumps. It was a good match. After the match, Carmelo Hayes and Andrade got into a fight, and now next week, Carmelo Hayes and Andrade are going to wrestle again. It's match 6 in what I thought and what everybody thought was a best of 5 that Andrade had won and then earned a title shot. But no, he loses the title shot, then goes right back into another match with Carmelo Hayes. There's 6 match now on SmackDown, and it's apparently a best of 7 with Andrade up 3-2, so I wonder who's going to win next week. What?
I gotta say something. And
So again, nothing happened. Like, we're back to square one on every goddamn thing on this stupid show because nothing happens on this dumb show. Sorry, go. Sorry.
I also gotta point out fucking Carmelo Hayes dropping this old-time reference in the back talking about how the Sacramento Kings lose to the Lakers, which is from over 20 years ago.
That's crazy.
And
why is he talking about that? Probably happened before he was born.
And
you think he wrote that line?
And it was like that has already been like immortalized by The Rock.
Yeah.
He did the Rock concert before WrestleMania 19 against Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he talked about how he's going to leave Sacramento where he's performing, but he's like, Sacramento, I'm not going to stay, but I'll be sure to come back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May. Back when that was relevant, when Chris Webber and Mike Bibby and
it's outrageous.
were the stars for the Kings. and the crowd, but now it's just like the Kings haven't been a relevant franchise since back then, since those Chris Webber days. I couldn't believe that they were dropping a reference like that.
I don't understand.
I don't know who wrote that.
It was a weird. It was a weird reference to make.
It was a weird reference. We were for Carmelo to make.
But clearly not written by him. Like, clearly written for him, because I don't think it would be something that he would say.
And, like, it's like a while, like, people still share that, like, Rock concert clip and be like, oh, man, look at that heat he got for the basketball and stuff. Like, it was, like, real heat. The Lakers and Kings would, like, fight with each other. And, like, Shaq got a lot of heat. And, it was a Bibby. Nobody likes Mike Bibby.
Somebody must.
Nobody likes Mike Bibby.
Was Vlade Divac on that team?
On the Kings?
Yeah, wasn't he on the...
He was on
the Kings.
He's on the Kings, yeah.
Well, he played for the Lakers, too, but he was really good on the Kings.
He was really good on the
Vlade
Kings.
Divac, baby.
And there was another guy, like Stojakovic. Peja Stojakovic. Oh, yeah,
he was good, too.
He hit threes like it was nothing,
Peja Stojakovic.
Yeah, like, those Kings teams were good.
Yeah.
And the Lakers, they would have, like, crazy 7-game battles, like, yeah.
Vladdy.
C-Web. C-Web was pretty good.
Yes. All right, guys.
Yeah. I don't know what Carmelo was like.
Angelo Cantagona says, I think Owens is going to turn on Rhodes. I think so, too, right? He kind of has to.
It's just so predictable.
But when he
Like,
does
and
turn
then
on,
they're gonna wrestle.
but when he turns on Cody, I think the fans will be with him. That's the thing. I think when he does turn on him, I think the fans will be like, yeah, Kevin's right. And then they'll turn on Cody. I think the fans may join Kevin and turn on Cody with Kevin Owens.
But Kevin won't be along for that ride.
He might be.
It's Mania.
It'll be like a Stone Cold
and-
style babyface where he's just attacking everybody super angry, and the fans are like, yeah, get him.
Maybe.
I think the fans are ready for a guy, like a get him guy.
Maybe.
The
But
fans are starting to revolt on Cody. I'm talking to people, and they're like, this Cody thing, like, you know.
But come Mania season, it's not going to be Kevin Owens in the picture.
That's also true, because we do know that John Cena's coming back in January. We do know
final
that The Rock will
boss.
probably come back at some point, so
Yeah, Kevin's just a placeholder again.
you may be right.
And that's the thing that's just kind of sucks about this. So they're going to have a feud and like promos and wrestle at the Rumble. You know, like I feel like Kevin Owens has like a championship match at the Rumble every year.
Yeah.
Give
Yeah,
him-
that's
you
probably
know.
what it leads to, right? Some sort of championship match against Cody at the Rumble
Yeah,
that he
and
doesn't win.
because he's a guy, he'll give you a high impact match, you know, to get you ready for Mania shape, you know, of like doing crazy bumps and stuff. Kevin's your guy to kind of
Yeah,
take you up to like another level.
he's just kind of there
Yeah,
to be there
he's a
in between,
yeah.
placeholder.
he's a good hand. It sucks. That's the thing. That's why I can't get excited about this anymore. Like when they push Kevin like this and have him do the turns, because it just unfortunately never leads to anything. I think the fans would love it if he became the focal point of the show and like he wins the Rumble and he's like an underdog because he's been with the company for so long. The fans have developed such a like relationship with him, and they just never pull the trigger, and it just seems like they won't at this point because now he's too old or I don't know,
Yeah,
and it sucks because there's a genuine, you know, like a sort of a Daniel Bryan kind of feeling, like, you know, fans really want to get behind this guy. The company just doesn't want to give him that opportunity. They're just always like, no, he's going to have a match, but then he'll lose. But I think if you really made it like Kevin Owens wins the Rumble, like,
yeah,
he's not even like talked to, like, if they made it like he's not even like one of those guys in the promo says, I'm going to win the Rumble, no, I'm going to win the Rumble, but then he wins the Rumble, there would be such a real upswell, I think, of support
yeah.
and like hype going to Rumble and Mania. Like, what if WrestleMania main event is Kevin Owens versus The Rock for the WWE Championship?
Yeah.
It'd be like, holy crap, I want to watch that. That's kind
Yeah.
of crazy.
I mean, honestly, when you look at it, why Cody and not Kevin?
Yeah, at
Why?
this point.
And it's always been like that too. Like, why Roman and not Kevin? And you go, you know, who's better? Who's more entertaining? And Kevin wins every time. Like, Kevin Owens is fantastic. He's a generational talent, and he's, I think, underused, even though he is used quite a bit at a main event level. I think there could be more done with him.
Yeah,
There could be a lot more done with him. There could be more focus put on him rather than use him as a side character in some of your main stories.
Yeah.
Like the stories, there's a story with Kevin right now and Cody, but what's the story about really? It's about Cody and Roman and like
Rock.
Kevin is there, but it's a side thing.
Yeah.
It'll be something for Cody to deal with, but it's a Cody story ultimately. It's not a Kevin story, you know? Yeah. Over on Raw, we had CM Punk cutting a promo. Some people loved it. I thought it was horrible. It was not like pipe bomb Punk. It was acting Punk again.
Everyone's freaking acting.
Everybody's trying to be an actor. They're auditioning for their real boss, which is Ari Emanuel, who can put them in movies. They're auditioning for the real boss. Like, it's really pathetic. It's really
They
pathetic.
want those Dave Bautista roles.
I mean, they're tired of breaking their bodies, and they're trying to get some movies and big money. But they're not so good at it. Punk is just not great at this stuff. Talking about how Drew McIntyre, he didn't think he'd find an enemy, but now he's got an enemy for life, and Drew's going to have to kill him in Hell in a Cell because he's ready to die, and he doesn't care, and the only way to end this is for Hell in a Cell to happen. It's the only way. And if my career's over, then so what? I don't care. I need to end Drew McIntyre, even if it ends me. And, I'll see you in hell. It's like, all right. It was very cheesy. I did not like it. Not Punk's best work.
Yeah, that's not his forte.
When you open Raw with a CM Punk promo, I go, yes.
Here we go.
Nice. And then I got that, and I was like, what the fuck?
You have to drag me to the gates of hell. We'll all meet you there, and I'll look the devil in the eye, and all, like, blah, blah,
Shut
blah,
up, dude.
blah.
I was just like, shut up, Punk. You're talking bullshit right now.
I'm actually the devil. Oh.
Hell in a Cell.
Ooh. You're in my playhouse. Ooh. God damn. Cheesy.
Cheesy, man. Cheesy. Garbage. And, again, Drew versus Punk. Hell in a Cell.
Okay. They're going to ram each other into some fences.
I don't give a fuck about it.
Someone's going to get a spot on the stairs.
The Drew Punk feud has lost all steam at this point.
Yeah, I don't know why they're still doing it.
Yeah. Punk's like, I thought I was done with you. And I feel like...
Yeah, the strap match
Me
felt like a
too.
good
I thought we were
conclusion.
done here.
And the bracelet and all that.
I thought we were done here.
The fucking bracelet.
The bracelet stuff.
It's the bracelet.
Which apparently WWE is selling a replica.
But they changed it?
But the woman... Because there's a real woman who made the bracelet for Punk. She, makes bracelets, and she made the bracelet for Punk. So they're making a replica, and she's like, well, this is my original work that you're taking. So they had to make an adjustment on the... change some stuff on the bracelet so it's not exactly the same. Because the original artist, was getting ripped off by
that happens
WWE.
A lot in things.
Of course
People
it does.
take designs, put them on T-shirts.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, you own that? I
Oh.
thought it was just something cool that we
Yeah,
saw.
I thought we drew it. Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's make adjustments here.
Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso. Breaker defending his Intercontinental title next week. That'll be fun. I like Braun the Breaker. Xavier Woods getting mad. Kofi attacking guys outside the ring while Xavier got beat by the Judgment Day. They had a tag team title shot. They lost to JD and Finn. And Woods got mad at Kofi after the match and some emotional stuff. And it was something, They talked about how, what was it? Kofi's like, I needed to... Yeah, because he had some team backing him up. He had the LWO helping them out, and that kind of led to a bit of a distraction. And Kofi's like, we needed them out there because it's just you and me. And I knew that the Judgment Day was going to come out and pull their tricks, so we needed some backup. And Woods is like, how come they knew the plan to our match and I didn't even know you were going to do that, Kofi? And Kofi's like, oh, I'm sorry, And he's like, what do you mean, just you and me? You think we're not good enough together? Because we don't have E anymore, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And Kofi's like, well, it is just you and me, and we don't have E on the outside backing us up anymore, and we are vulnerable. And it was just it was sad.
Yeah, because...
you felt like crying watching it. You're just like, oh. Because they're just they're struggling because their guy is not there with them, and they're having... they're not, it's not going right. Their careers aren't going right, and you're seeing the frustration, and it feels like there's a lot of reality there, and just the way they put it out there on Raw, it was the best thing I saw on Raw. By far. It was the best thing I saw on Raw. It was Woods. And you felt for both of them. I love those guys so much. Greatest tag team in the history of pro wrestling. I'll stand by that forever. New Day. I drink out of their coffee mug all the time. On the show specifically to honor those guys. I love them so much. They were the best ever. That trio will never be beat. And it isn't the same without E. It just isn't. Like, it wasn't the same without Woods. When Woods would get hurt and it was just Kofi and E, it was like, oh, there's something missing. Or it wasn't the same when, Kofi would get hurt sometimes and it was just E and Woods. You'd be like, it's not.
All three.
But when they're together, it's magic. The energy they feed off each other. It was a magical run. And when they say you never know when it could be your last match. You never know.
A simple match against Ridge Holland.
Simple match on SmackDown against Ridge Holland. Take it. Don't take it for granted. You never know when it'll be your last one, And for Big E, possibly that one was the last one. I don't know. But
it feels like it.
It's just so sad. It's one of the saddest things. If I'm doing a top 10 list of sad things that I've seen happen in pro wrestling, that would be up there in the top 5.
There's been a lot of sad things.
Seeing E lose his career on an episode of SmackDown though was because you saw immediately
so
you knew
something we've seen on camera because off camera is a lot of sad stuff
but this was immediately you knew something was wrong, and then that was it. It's just seeing that happen and then just knowing how it all turned out, knowing oh, that didn't look good, and then it turns out it was bad. His neck is screwed and he's not gonna wrestle anymore. It's just like, what? Such a force, such a life, such a young guy, to lose pro wrestling at this stage in his career. It's just incredibly sad.
Starting to be more considered a main eventer.
Yeah, very sad. So I love Big E. I love the New Day. I like that they're getting the chance to play out this story on TV. There's a lot of bad acting in WWE, but when you give the guys something with some meat there, some reality, something they can really feel, especially when you give it to performers as talented as Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, they're going to deliver. Because Woods and Kofi are two of the best in all of WWE, and they are criminally underused.
Yeah.
And have been for many years at this point, and it is about time that they're given something substantial on Monday Night Raw, and hopefully this leads to something interesting and something bigger for them down the road, because I don't know if I could find two guys more deserving of more in WWE right now than Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Who deserves, more than they're getting, more than those two guys?
They had such a great spot, and they made so much of that spot.
They were legit main eventers.
Yeah.
Legit top act in WWE. Think about all the top acts in WWE that were once huge. Is there anybody that's still they don't demote you that hard?
No.
No top act that was as over as New Day ever gets demoted as hard as New Day has been demoted. It's ridiculous. Imagine doing that to the Road Warriors. You know what I mean? Come on.
Dudley Boys kind of got
it happened, but that was near the end of their.
Yeah.
These guys aren't done. I'm a New Day guy forever. Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed bounced around each other for a while. Went to a no contest when they went through a thing. They went through a wall.
Can they form a team with Braun Breaker? Call himself just Braun.
The Brawns.
Or
I think they should form a team. Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Bronson Strowman. Call yourself Bronson Strowman. And as a tag team, I think that they would be sick. As single stars, I think they're whatever. But as a tag team, they would be pretty cool. Deal with that, Judgment Day or any other tag team on the roster.
3 big guys.
Imagine those, or just the two, Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Those two guys together. That's a hell of a tag team. And a single stars like Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
Braun
short.
Braun Strowman,
I don't know.
I don't see it.
At this point.
I think those two guys together as a team, like if they could just keep fighting and then they realize, one of those things where they're like, oh, let's just be together.
They could be new natural disasters.
They would be devastating. I would love a tag team like that. Imagine DIY against those guys. It'd be a joke. Yeah. Come on now. I mean, even Finn and JD are tiny. Well, yeah, next to those guys, they would get washed.
Than JD.
Yeah, JD is not big.
Hell of a worker.
Yeah, he's very good. Speaking of very good, Bianca Belair and Io Sky are two of the best in all of the WWE. We talked about how the men's talent is kind of weak. The women's talent is unbelievable still. They got Bianca Belair. They got the Jade Cargill. They've got, Charlotte Flair at some point.
She is.
Io Sky, Kairi Sane, Asuka will come back at some point. Bailey, Tiffy Time, Naomi. They've got some good talent there.
Julia. Supposed to be good.
There you go. She's somebody.
I like saying Julia.
Orioles won tonight.
Hachi.
Not good. Yanks tied 1-1 in the 8th, though, so we'll see. Hopefully the Yankees win this game that we're watching. But Io Sky beat Bianca Belair on Raw this week. I think that's because Io and Kairi are going to wrestle Bianca and Jade for the tag team titles on Raw, and they're not going to win that match, so Io got to beat Bianca in a one-on-one. But it's nice to see Io get kind of a big win on Raw, because since her women's title reign, she's kind of been, demoted a bit, and she was so dominant as women's champion, holding the belt for so long, beating everybody with the damage control with Bailey and all that you kind of go, I liked when Io was a little bit kind of higher on the card, like pushed a little stronger. So to get the win over Bianca, it was a clean win too.
I think she did
very
a
good
cross-promotional match in Japan, I think, Io, over the
yes,
summer.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Io is, you know how I feel about Io.
Yeah.
I love Io.
Io's fantastic.
I think she is the best. She is such a great wrestler. Her promos are a lot of fun too. Her facial expressions are fantastic. She is great. And that match was the match of the night on Raw, for sure. Probably the best match that I saw in all of WWE this week. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. And that's what's up. And you know what else is happening? Here's the bad news. You want some bad news?
I'm afraid I got some bad news.
WWE, like the new report from Wrestle Votes on Twitter and that's a pretty solid Twitter source for accounts. Twitter account for Twitter source. I don't know what I'm saying. It's Raw and SmackDown in January are going to be 3-hour shows, both. Apparently, like when Raw goes over to the US from the USA Network to Netflix, the USA Network is then going to bump SmackDown to 3 hours, which sucks. Like, I don't know what that means for us because we come on after SmackDown.
SmackDown going to go to 11?
Is SmackDown going to go to 11 now?
Machi.
I don't know if we're going to come on after. Maybe we'll have to switch the time of Wrestling Uncensored. I don't want to come on at 11, though. I think I still want to come on at 10, and maybe we do a watch-along for the final hour of SmackDown or something.
Maybe, and, recap while we go over.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we'll do. I don't know. Nothing is official, so we're waiting for the press release to find out what time the show. Maybe it'll be 7 till 10, and we'll go on at 10 like normal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're planning, but 8 till 11 seems likely for SmackDown on a Friday night, which is way too much, obviously. The word was a couple weeks ago, I'm confused. There's conflicting reports, because the word was a couple weeks ago that Raw was going to go down to 2 hours starting in October. And then when it went to Netflix, it was probably going to be a 2-hour show too.
Yeah.
And now apparently Raw is going to be 3 hours on Netflix and SmackDown is going to be 3 hours on USA. And everybody in the world of wrestling went, why? I don't know if it's actually going to happen, though. I'm skeptical. That was the report, and WrestleVotes is usually dead on with that stuff, but, really?
I can see Raw staying 3 hours. Because, Netflix, maybe they just want, people watching a lot of content. If you're watching 3 hours of show, it's an extra hour. They can say, people have watched billions of minutes of Raw. Stuff like they like saying that. Because they don't like to release their real numbers.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I guess the USA wants to be well, if we're losing Raw, we want a 3-hour show for more commercials and stuff. And
I guess.
but fuck,
They like that. I mean, it's the
3 hour
TV.
Wrong.
It's the TV network that was pushing to get, the
Yeah.
advertising dollars and all of that.
And they're
So
like, you can't cut us off.
yeah, 2-hour SmackDown is a lot easier to deal with. But, tonight the 2 hours felt long because it was a bad show. Imagine a 3-hour version of what we saw.
And we didn't even get any Pretty Deadly.
No Pretty Deadly. Like
that was
SmackDown,
sorely lacking.
SmackDown needs Pretty Deadly on TV every week. We need to see them on the show every week, and it's got to be more than like 30 seconds. They got to be on for at least 5 minutes every week.
Because like that Nia and Tiffy time when like Pretty Deadly aren't there, that storyline is pretty bad.
It's flat.
It's just
Pretty
like,
Deadly adds
Nia's
so much to
just
Tiffy time.
mean, and Tiffy's just trying to kiss up to her, but like she's gonna. It's just and like Nia's all like, you could leave SmackDown. It's just like It's like, why is this just still a thing? Can Tiffy just be a baby face and like chase Nia, or like can this stop? It's dragging Tiffany down.
Yeah. I mean, eventually she'll cash in Money in the Bank. It's leading towards something.
I know, but like, how long do they keep up this charade? It's drawn out.
Mm-hmm.
I hate those things. Oh, let's be friends, even though we don't like each other.
It's
I feel like that
it's
was
obvious.
That was like a storyline. Wasn't that like Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss? They had the exact same thing of like, well, I'm not gonna challenge you. You're my friend. And then
Possibly.
like they were letting like Nikki Cross went nuts on Alexa Bliss or something.
I mean, Damian Priest had Money in the Bank, and Finn was challenging for the belt, and it was like, well, I'm not going to cash in on you. Don't worry. And he's like,
it's always the same goddamn storyline. They just have one like thing. Like you can come up with tons of different ideas.
No.
No.
Too hard.
Trips, lazy,
Very lazy.
doofus.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not great. Everybody still is in this honeymoon phase of Triple H and is like, oh, creatively, so brilliant, so many changes. Wrong.
It's PR.
Wrong. And watch, when that Netflix series drops on Vince, they're going to say, Vince did all the bad stuff. Vince was a bad actor. He did all these terrible things.
I didn't know.
But now it's a new day in WWE, and Triple H is running the show, and it's much cleaner and better now because Triple H had no idea what Vince was doing.
Here's Bruce Pritchard to be like, look, I was there during the Vince days. I could tell you it's a lot better now.
I know everything. I was Vince's right-hand man. I was in the hotel rooms with Vince. I saw I was involved in all the stuff with. I didn't know about that, and I'm still here, and everything is fine.
Yeah, I advise Triple H. That's all I do.
Yeah, come on, man. That Netflix series better be good.
Yeah.
Next week,
I don't expect much from Bill Simmons.
6-part documentary series on Vince McMahon dropping on Netflix.
You know?
We'll talk about it next week. I'm sure I'll have watched the whole thing by next week. It'll be nuts. I can't wait. Yeah, I hope it's good. But, like, I wonder what more they could tell me about Vince. Like, I'm sure the average person that doesn't know everything about Vince McMahon, that hasn't studied the guy their whole life, will get some good stuff. But I'm just hoping for some stuff that's juicy and good that I don't know about, because it's hard to find stuff about Vince that I haven't heard of.
I want young Vince.
I want stuff that I haven't heard already, but like even young Vince I know all about. Like I could tell you Vince's whole life story. I know everything, everybody.
I want to know more about his mother, like more than like that one Playboy interview Vince said,
Yeah.
I want to I don't know how they can get that info though.
I don't know if they would. But because his brother's dead, I think.
Rod?
Yeah.
You have a sister too?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Think
but
so.
that's the thing. Like, if they just kind of gloss over all of that and
I don't know what
Vince
they're gonna talk about. I don't know what they're gonna talk about, or how they're gonna, present it. Apparently, WWE's mad at the way it's all presented.
Are they talking about Jimmy Snuka? Because Vince is allegedly involved in that.
Maybe. I really have no idea.
Yeah, you can go in
There's
so many
much
directions.
There's so much, man. Do they talk about I'm sorry, I forget the woman's name, but the woman in the 80s who was a referee who accused
Rita Chatterton?
Yeah, so they're going to go into that. Like, what do they go into?
They seem they're going to go into the steroid trial, but like, is it just going to be the trial, or like really about Zahorian and like how and all the stuff.
They're gonna do a number on Vince.
You know when they busted the doctor? They like had like a wrestler like mic'd up, and the wrestler was like, "Hey man, like I can't like buy from you anymore," and like and like they're and so Zahorn's like, "Oh really? Okay, well in that case, like here, like take all these pills."
He just gave him stuff.
Just gave him so much.
Yeah,
and then the feds were like, "Yeah, you're busted." Like we're listening the whole time. It's like, "Oh what?"
Crazy.
Yeah, like how much are they, or is it just gonna be like, "Oh, and Vince faced a steroid trial and they wore a neck brace and that was 1993."
I think they'll have a little bit more than that.
And then Hogan goes to WCW.
6 parts though. I mean, 6
Yeah.
hours. They have a lot of time to cover a lot of stuff, but I don't know. Vice did a whole Dark Side of the Ring just on the steroid trial, right?
Yeah.
So that was one whole show. We'll see what Netflix does with theirs. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with Vince, though. That's the thing. Like, because we know so much, it's like, wow, are they going to talk about this? Are they going to talk about that? There's so many stories to tell, so many people to talk to. You wonder what kind of job they'll do and what they'll talk about, what they'll address.
Because, like, if they probably won't have, like, say, a guy like JR, like, talking to them.
Apparently they have Brett burying Vince on the show.
Yeah.
Which is great.
But a guy like JR... like, who was, like, kind of there in those days, like...
He's not talking.
Like, are we going to get what is a burrito? Like, just as, like, a thing about, like, here's how crazy Vince was. He didn't know what a burrito was.
There's going to be a lot of here's how crazy Vince was, for sure.
Is there going to be the Gail Kim story?
Maybe. I don't know. I really have no idea.
Because that's something we know about Vince, but is that going to make the documentary?
No clue. Harold Schneider dropping the $7 super chat, says, happy 700th. Looking forward to October 5th. It will be a fun show for Bad Blood, UFC 307 on October the 5th. A mashup show here on the Ringside Report Network. Johnny North is in the chat. He says he was in Sudbury tonight. Gangrel was not there. Gangrel was actually supposed to be Johnny's tag team partner tonight. Supposed to drop in, but he wasn't there. Hopefully Gangrel's able to make... He was supposed to do an appearance, I think, tonight, and then set up a tag team match later on. Hopefully the match is still happening. Johnny was supposed to become a member of the Brood.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I don't
Drink
know
from the cup?
officially, but him and Gangrel were going to team up. I don't know if that's still happening. Johnny's saying Gangrel had some sort of surgery. So
would he have come out to the music?
I don't know. We're wishing Gangrel a speedy recovery, and hopefully Johnny gets to one day team with Gangrel and become an honorary Brood member for a night, which would be sweet. Right?
One of the greatest, my favorite wrestling theme songs.
Angelo Contagone is saying, Alberto Del Rio is saying, it's not fair that the world is destroying Vince. Yeah, that's who you want defending Alberto Del Rio. A guy who's basically been blackballed from all of wrestling because of his shitty behavior.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, when it's those guys saying, like, yeah, Vince is getting too hard of a...
Yeah.
It's like, it's not great company.
I heard Puff Daddy says he doesn't see what the big deal is with Vince, and Vince should be fine.
Yeah.
Puff Daddy was like, whoa, what's the problem with Vince? Everything he does seems totally normal to me.
Ghislaine Maxwell apparently said, like, Vince, stand-up guy.
Big supporter of Vince.
Partied with him all the time.
Prince Andrew came out in support of Vince, as did R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. Yeah. So, a lot of support among the sick freaks.
And, of course, Donald Trump.
Yeah, Donald Trump.
That actually happened. He actually did go.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever said it.
Donald Trump is also, no stranger to admitting to sexual assault.
Yeah.
And possibly doing sexual assault. I mean, he did talk about doing sexual assaults. I don't know if he's ever necessarily been caught doing them, but there's been allegations.
Yeah. I mean, in civil court, he has been ordered to
pay money.
Been found guilty.
Here's a lesson, kids. Don't do sexual assaults. It's never a good idea for anybody involved. All right?
No.
That's the lesson of the day.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a lesson we have to teach, but apparently some people out there don't know how to behave. All right, guys. On that stupid note, let's wrap it all up. Yeah, Ryan Katz says Mick Foley said he owes his career to Vince. Foley was out recently.
Yeah.
And was like, He was good to me. I kind of like him. And it's like, ooh, Mick, what?
Yeah.
And Mick also has done so much work
for RAIN.
RAIN, which is a
sexual assault and suicide, anti-suicide, like suicide prevention.
Yeah, sexual assault and anti-suicide prevention.
He worked like phones.
He would do a lot of work for that group.
Call him and tell him horrible stuff, and he would like counsel them.
Yeah, and now he's like not publicly denouncing Vince, which is an odd juxtaposition.
Odd. I know. Because, like, a lot of them say that, like, you know, like, my career... And it's like, sure, but that doesn't mean, you know... But, like, yeah, just because he's your boss doesn't... You can't say, you know, what a dick, you know, like, that's awful.
Maybe Mick is complicit in some way. Maybe he was volunteering... I'm just spitballing ideas here to... No, I don't even want to go.
I can't.
I'm not going there with Mick Foley. I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't picture it.
But you know how some people, you know, they like, you know, they like children, so they go and work with children. You know, some people like to prey on vulnerable people, so they go and work with vulnerable people. I don't think Mick Foley's doing that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, goddamn, Mick, like, how you gonna defend Vince, dude?
Yeah.
Like. I'm not saying Mick is like some sort of predator like Vince.
No.
I really don't think that. I think he's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
You know? But like when you're out there and people go, "What do you think about Vince?" and he's like, "I owe my career to Vince. I really like Vince." You go, Mick, that wasn't the answer you're looking for here. And I know that he did a lot of good things for you, but at a certain point you also have to say, but the shit that he's accused of doing is completely, you know, wrong. And if those things are true, then I denounce everything that he's done there. But he probably didn't know any of that was going on.
No.
You know, I think Mick Foley has the reputation of good guy in wrestling for a good reason. We met Mick Foley.
Yeah. I met him twice.
We hung out with Mick Foley for like at least a couple
A
hours.
lot of wrestlers have given
room,
that intro.
I talked to Mick Foley.
Answer. Cena's given that answer of like, Vince is giving me everything.
I mean, it's tough when it's a guy that you love and he's your friend and has been your friend for many years, and then all of a sudden these accusations come out of nowhere and you never knew him to be this type of guy, and he's telling you that it's all bullshit. It's hard to go, oh, fuck my friend. You know, like, I get it with Mick, but, you know, when the news comes out, it's like Foley's like, oh, I owe my career to Vince, and that's the headline. It's,
It makes it look like you're excusing it.
Yeah, or like maybe even worse, that you're part of the, you know, part of the deal. I mean, Vince was trafficking humans to wrestlers in contract negotiations. At least one wrestler, you know, he's being accused of.
Yeah.
Trafficking a woman to Brock Lesnar to help with his contract negotiation, which is a vile act if true, you know. And if it is true, who knows if it's the first time, or, you know, if he's the only guy. Who knows, man? Who knows? All that Vince stuff is so dark. All this Puffy stuff is so dark. So crazy. When you get too rich and too powerful, weird things start to happen. I don't even think we could chalk it up to just being rich and powerful, though. I think it's another thing going on. I don't know what it is, but some of these guys are really acting out in a bad way. Crazy times. Crazy times we're living in.
We're finding all this out.
Yeah. Yeah. Angelo says they shouldn't be afraid to speak up. I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. But
it's hard, you know?
Sometimes when it's somebody, you know, sometimes loyalty will cloud your vision. You know, sometimes you're loyal to a fault, right? You've heard that before. Mick Foley may be loyal to a fault to Vince McMahon, you know? Vince McMahon made Mick Foley a very rich man.
There's a great quote, I think, about by this old writer named Upton Sinclair that says, "Never doubt someone's ability to believe something when their salary depends on them believing it."
Yeah.
So it's
not like denouncing Vince will, you know.
No.
But,
you know, You don't want to like.
I don't think it would
stir
help
up too
his
much.
standing in WWE if he started coming out saying bad things about
Saying
Vince.
like more people who have had experiences should come out. And
Yeah,
stuff, you know.
yeah.
You
No,
might not get.
notice not a single ex-WWE wrestler is saying that.
No.
None of them
Are saying encouraging
are
more
coming
people
out saying, you know, I knew Vince was up to this, or I'm glad he's going down.
I'm
or
not surprised.
None of the big names that made millions off of Vince, with Vince, for Vince, but also for themselves, like, none of them are coming out publicly denouncing Vince. Not a single one.
No.
Not a single one. The fuck is that? That's weird, no? It's kind of weird. Not a single one. Have you seen one? A big name that made millions with WWE, and there's a lot of them.
Brett hasn't said anything about this.
Brett hasn't said
specifically.
anything about this specifically. Brett was on Raw a couple weeks ago, man. You think he'd be on Raw if he was saying, well,
You know, if anyone else, shouldn't.
I think he said, like, you know, I'm glad this is happening to him. He's a piece
Yeah.
of shit. So
Yeah.
I'm glad if this is true. Like,
But he's not saying I remember seeing him with
no,
Sonny.
no.
Yeah.
Well, you can't admit to having
Yeah,
known
'cause-
about it because then you're complicit.
Yeah. Become accessory after the fact.
Exactly. Jason Pete says none of them are saying a thing. The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Bret Hart, nobody. Well, Triple H can't. The Rock can't.
Yeah.
Stone Cold won't.
Hulk Hogan won't.
Hogan won't. Taker won't.
Cena won't.
Cena won't. Batista won't.
And he's on the press round right now. I don't think anyone's asking about Vince or anything really. Or
None
he's just
of
like,
those
you
guys.
know, it's
None
good
of
that he's
those
gone.
guys.
He'll just like defer, like, oh, Triple H is in charge. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
None of them.
Skinny
I mean,
Batista.
the thing is, too, a lot of them are dead,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
But,
like Piper isn't gonna go out.
Piper
that's the thing.
can't.
Jesse Ventura's kind of old and
Ventura is now getting paid by them. He's working
Yeah.
for them again. He's going to
So-
do commentary for Saturday night's main event when that comes back.
Yeah. So
You know, Flair won't. You know, Macho Man, guys like that can't because they're dead.
Bruno Sammartino's dead.
San Martino's dead. Like, a lot of the
Yeah.
guys that would say things are either dead or just won't. The big names, the names that would matter if they came out and said something, Taker, Austin,
Yeah.
Foley,
Hogan.
Hogan, they're not saying anything.
Yeah, especially guys in the Attitude Era when there was like scantily clad women, models coming in,
Yeah.
who were all those Godfathers hoes? How did they get? Like what
Guys-
did they have to go through?
Guys that would know Vince and have a good relationship with Vince as a top guy.
They've written books about spending hours in Vince's office,
Getting that father-son relationship get
Yes.
so close. All this
late
stuff.
night phone calls.
Jericho hasn't said anything against Vince.
No, he's in competition. He could say something to be like,
CM Punk
yeah,
hasn't really. He kind of said, like,
it's terrible.
when
when
it's
this
awful
happens.
and yeah, but
It was more of a general statement.
yeah, none of them. Not a single one. Because I think everybody is still, until he dies, conditioned to think, like, don't say bad things about Vince
He'll
McMahon.
get you.
If you want to be a pro wrestler,
Yeah.
saying bad things about Vince, not always good for business. And the guys that we're talking about, all multimillionaire pro wrestlers, they know how to do business.
Yeah,
That's how they got to where they are. So they're going to do business.
they've turned their backs to greasy things.
They know how to politic, brother. And they're going to keep politicking to keep themselves safe in wrestling.
Yeah.
And there it is. There we have it. I'm waiting for Shane McMahon to come out. Start talking shit about his dad.
That'd be interesting.
I don't think it's going to happen. Took that meeting with AEW. I don't know if anything's going to come of that. Would be nice. We are going to extra innings in Oakland. 10th inning between the Yankees
Garrett
and
Cole
A's.
Pitch a complete game.
Complete game. 1 run. Garrett Cole pitched a gem. And we're in the 10th now, and hopefully the Yankees will win. let's go take a look at this game and wrap up this show here tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the 700th episode. I want to thank our Super Chat leader, who is Harold Schneider. Thank you, Harold, for all your support over the years, for being a member over at join.ringsidereport.net, and for the Super Chats and the Super Chat tonight. You're the Super Chat leader. Thank you, Harold Schneider. Shout out to Jason Pete. Angelo Contagonis, drop in a Super Chat, member of the team. Thank you, Angelo, for all your support. Kyle Salisbury as well, dropping a Super Chat. Thank you, Kyle. All the members over at join.ringsidereport.net, a lot of them I see checking in tonight. I see a lot of you. Angelo, Kyle, Jason, Leor, Harold. Everybody checking in tonight live on the 700th edition of Wrestling Uncensored. So thank you for joining us over the years. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Oh, my God. We could have scored there.
Third base coach.
Easily.
It's the third base coach.
The right fielder bobbled it. It was a single hit to right.
Like Chili Davis?
Right fielder bobbled it, and Dominguez stopped at third. He could have gone home, but he got held up at third, and the throw was way off, too. Dominguez would have easily scored and taken the lead there, but instead we got runners on first and third, which is
bad.
Not great.
Is it Verdugo now?
We wanted him to go.
I think they're pinch running Cabrera in for Rizzo.
Dominguez base running, not great there.
Well, whoever the third base coach, I don't know if the Yankees third. Isn't it Chili Davis?
I don't know.
I thought Chili Davis is on the coaching staff.
Angelo dropping a super chat. He says, "Thanks for another great show, Angelo, new super chat leader of the night." Thank you, Angelo.
Juan Soto's pitching.
Juan Soto's pinch hitting. Oh, yeah, he wasn't in the game tonight. Ooh.
He's okay, though. He's okay.
Soto, baby.
Let's go, Juan Soto.
Soto pinch hitting in the 10th. Runners on first
Cabrera's
and third.
pinch running.
Cabrera pinch running. Let's score some runs. Let's win this ball game. Top of 10th, we still have to shut him down in the bottom, but I think we can do it, baby. Let's go, Juan Soto.
Get Luke Weaver out there. I don't want cardiac Clay.
No, Clay. Unless Soto hits like a 3-run shot, and then we got a cushion.
So.
A 3-run cushion Clay could take. A 1-run ball game? No way, baby.
I see, walking the bases loaded.
And they giving up a grand slam?
Yeah.
Shades of Texas.
Yeah.
That was devastating. When he did that with the Rangers, gave up the game. Goddamn Clay Holmes, jabroni. There's a strike to Soto. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we can't watch this game and do play-by-play of this game without express written consent of Major League Baseball.
And
it's illegal.
Verbal consent.
Yeah, they got to give verbal consent. It's good to have consent, guys. That's another lesson for you.
Baseball.
All. In all aspects of life, it's good to have consent. Wild pitch! He's safe!
Hey! There you go, Dominguez.
Pass ball.
That's right.
And the ball hit the backstop. Jason Dominguez takes home plate from third, and the Yankees have a 2-1 lead in the 10th. Soto didn't have to do anything, just had to stand there and let a ball fly by the catcher. And Dominguez comes home now.
Ooh, that was close.
Yes. 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 Do we do a watch along of the rest of the game?
I got to catch the Metro.
All right, let's get out of here. Soto!
Hey! Cabrera's gone! Hey! Yes!
Yeah!
Oh, what a bat.
Oh, he's the best.
Pay that man.
Double to left. Juan Soto drives in. Oswaldo Cabrera yanks up 3-1. Let's motherfucking go, baby.
Whack.
Yankees!
What a beauty shot.
Oh, I love this fucking team so
Kept traveling. Whoop. Out of the reach.
What a hit from Juan Soto. He's the best.
He's fantastic.
Pay that man.
He's 25.
Let's pay that man.
Insane.
Keep him in the Bronx forever. Can we make him assistant captain?
He's 25.
Do we do assistant captains in baseball?
Like,
Let's make an exception.
there's like top prospects in baseball like older than him.
They do it in hockey.
There's like rookies of the year candidates older than like Austin Wells is older than him, I think.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's
Come on.
insane.
Address my assistant captain
Yeah.
comment. What do you think? Assistant captain?
How about assistant to the captain? Little Dwight Schrute.
I like it. They don't do that in baseball. I mean, captains aren't really
Yeah,
a thing in baseball. It happens once in a while. But like on
no.
hockey teams, they
Yeah,
always
there's, like,
have
two.
they have to have a captain and 2 assistant captains for some
Yeah.
reason.
Well, it's
Why do they need that on a hockey team?
I
Could
think
you?
sometimes it's in case the captain gets injured because you get injured pretty easy.
Yeah,
in
but who
hockey.
cares if you're captain? Like, why do you need a captain? Don't you have a coach? Like, baseball teams sometimes have captain, but not. I mean, it's just like Aaron Judge because like he's a leader, but not every baseball team has a captain.
No,
Most baseball teams don't have a captain.
I think also the Yankees.
why
are,
in
like,
hockey-
prestigious?
Why in hockey is it like a thing where you must have a captain?
I think
Oh, only they are allowed to speak to the referees, I'm being told. The captains in hockey.
That
So they
makes
must
sense.
have a captain because they are the only ones allowed to speak to the other players aren't allowed to speak to the
no, when
referees.
they want to be like, "Hey, that was a bad call," because then everyone would be like mouthing off.
I guess. Oh, there's a
Volpe,
single by
oh, he
Volpe.
bobbled it. He bobbled it
Bobbled.
again.
Is that a run? Do we score? Yeah, because
Yeah.
we pinch
Well,
ran. We pinch ran
Birdie,
for Soto. Birdie came
yeah.
in.
So Birdie
we scored again. It's 4-1.
Oh yeah, Birdie's got the speed.
Oh,
I
sick.
I love Birdie's
Birdie
speed.
scored from second
Yeah,
on a single by Volpe.
Butler's a shitty fielder. I love it.
Oh, Verdugo's coming up. How much you want to bet he grounds out into a double play right here?
Oh god damn it.
Him and Volpe are going to double up right now. Watch this. He's going to double. But we got a 4-run lead. We could put Clay Holmes in the 10th.
Yeah.
4-run lead?
They have
Well, no,
September call-ups?
it's a 3-run lead. Sorry, it's a
Yeah.
3-run lead. We could do that.
You got some guy from the minors up there or nothing?
Oh, man.
Well, they don't have September call-ups anymore, right?
Yankees up 4-1 in the 10th now. I'm loving this. Angelo says some teams go without a captain in hockey. Oh,
Yeah.
well then who talks to the referee?
The alternate.
The
They'll
assistant captain.
they'll have like more alternate captains.
So they get like
Assistants.
3 assistants?
Yeah. And like I guess the players pick the one they like the most to talk to them.
Weird.
Yeah.
Hockey, man. I don't know the rules
I
over
think
there.
I think in hockey also like they need a guy to like keep their energy up, to be like, come on guys, let's go, because like you're exhausted. Like they're taking like smelling salts on the bench to like wake up.
Yeah, it's cool. They should just let them do cocaine.
I mean, hockey. I mean, I could tell you some stories. I know some stories.
I've heard many stories as well.
Yeah, there is.
Is Garrett Cole yelling about something? What's he doing? He seems mad. He's like
It's
yelling.
like, come
and
on,
pacing.
Verdugo! Don't fuck this up.
Is
Verdugo.
he mad at Verdugo?
You suck, Verdugo. The guy yelling, "You suck, Verdugo!" It's Cole. You suck, Verdugo. You can't hit
Garrett
him with
Cole.
a tennis racket, Verdugo.
See that nice jacket that the Yankees are all wearing now because it's a little chilly?
Yep.
I have that same jacket, baby.
The jacket.
It looks so nice.
The jacket.
I'm gonna be wearing it on October. The Yankees are gonna be wearing it in
Verdugo
October.
bunts. Let's go, Verdugo.
Verdugo bunt.
I like it.
Verdugo's
Small
out,
ball.
but he advances the runner because even he knew that he was gonna ground
Yeah,
into a
like
double
he's
play.
like, yeah, come on, guys.
He's like, I can't hit. Let me just bunt the runner over, and
Yeah.
maybe we could put him in scoring
Oh.
position, get another run through. That's hilarious. He is like, nah, I suck. I think he was told to do
okay,
that.
manager's doing pitch.
All right, guys.
That's it. All right.
4-1 Yankees. Thanks, everybody.
Let's go.
We love you so much. Thank you for bearing with us with a little baseball talk at the end. I'll be back on Thursday with Freddie and AJ because I have a very rare weekend off. There's no UFC. There's no pro wrestling this weekend. There's literally no UFC card tomorrow, not even a fight night, no pay-per-view at all, no wrestling WWE or AEW big event this weekend. So I am off this weekend, a rare weekend off on the Ringside Report Network. We'll be back in full effect Thursday night, and we'll be previewing UFC Paris. Benoit Saint Denis versus Renato Moicano. That is a very sick fight at 155 pounds. BSD versus Moicano in Paris is going to be nasty. So we will preview that next week on Ringside Report MMA, and then next Friday with Johnny North, we'll be back in full effect with the big man, and we'll be a week away from Bad Blood, and we'll have the new Zelda game in our hands. So it'll be a different world. The Vince McMahon Netflix documentary will be out for a couple of days. We'll have a new Zelda game to play. Like, Johnny and I will have a lot to talk about next week. So tune in. It'll be a very exciting show next week for Wrestling Uncensored. Thank you again for 700 episodes. Thank you for joining us and supporting us throughout the years. It is much appreciated for everyone here at the Ringside Report Network. We will see you again real soon.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time.